Hi friends, it's Julie Golding Page, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in St. Stephen, New Brunswick, Canada, along the tidal Scoodic or St. Croix River, the traditional territory and home of the Passamaquoddy, and I'm grateful that they share this beautiful place with us. Earlier this week, I asked my viewers on my Facebook page, Julie's Craft Attic, what they would like to see me demonstrate today. And the winner was, let me show you, watercolor pencils. So we are going to use a couple of selections of watercolor pencils that you can get from Stampin' Up! And here's the other one. So I've got two sets I'm going to work out of today. And the only other thing you need for ink is just to stamp outlines. And this is my Tuxedo Black Memento ink. And the secret is going to be using blender pens to smooth out the images. So I really like this technique and I hope you'll enjoy it as well. And here's the stamp set we're going to be using today. So this is a photopolymer stamp set. That means it is clear see-through, and I'll show you how to use that in just a few minutes. And this one is the Otterly Amazing Bundle. So isn't this cute? I think this is so incredibly cute. I love, love, love otters. And if you check out the blog post that goes along with today's project, it's linked here right in the post. You can click on Learn More and it'll take you to a little bit of a story about my encounter with a sea otter. So it's pretty cool. And we're going to be using that super cute set today. And I also want to show you the paper that we're going to be using. This is the Otterly Adorable paper. I think it's very well named. So you can see the really cute patterns we've got here. Some are big, some are kind of medium sized. We've also got this undersea greenery. We've got these smaller images here. We've got these ones as well with little fish. And these ones kind of on the shore. So if I flip this over, you can see there's a whole host of really cool patterns on the other sides as well. So you can pair those with your pictures of the otters and everything looks really neat. So the other thing is too that I wanted to show you is that some of these are the right size to actually cut out with the dies that you can get in the bundle. And if you buy the bundle, which is the stamp set and the dies together, so you have to select it as the thing called bundle. If you're not sure how, just let me know and I can help you out with that. The dies will actually cut out some of these little guys. And so you can make a really simple and quick card by just cutting the little figures out of the paper. So we're going to get right to it here. And I'm going to show you our project. So this is the project that I made today using the watercolor pencils. So you can see it looks really cool. The effect is pretty smooth and it makes it look kind of like fur as well, which is a really nice benefit. So I am going to start that out right now. And what I like to do at the very beginning is stamp. So I like to do kind of the most difficult pieces first, or the messiest pieces at least. So I have just a rectangle of basic white cardstock here, and the Stampin' Up! Cardstock is super smooth because it's meant for stamping. So it gives you a really nice resolution of image. And this is a piece of colored cardstock in the color that's called Pool Party. And so that's where I got that piece for the bottom there. So it's just 1/2 inch tall. So it's just a little scrap, and I keep those little scraps because I often use them for stamping words. So let's do the words first, because that's kind of the easiest part of this. So this one I'm going to do, We're Cute Together, because there are two. And here is our sentiment. Now, because this is a really long one, it's easy to kind of put it on the block and have it kind of arc a little bit when you don't mean to. So what I like to do is just put them down so you can read them. You can see I can read the words, We're Cute Together. I'll show you there. They won't be upside down or backwards or anything. It should be readable completely normally. And what I do is take my block, this one I'm going to do diagonally, and I press it down and just pick it up so that it'll stay straight across the block and won't kind of go uphill or downhill. So we're just going to stamp that in our Tuxedo Black. You could choose another color if you wanted, but I wanted to keep our colors really simple for this card, so just the black ink plus the pencils. But you could stamp it in one of the colors in the paper in the background too, and that would also be really nice. But like I said, I just want to keep it super simple here. So I'm going to do that right now. And let's see how we did. That looks like it's coated up pretty good. With the tuxedo black, I like to coat it super well because I find that if you don't, it can turn out kind of gray. I can't quite see that here on my desk, so I'm going to move that down a little. My phone was in the way there. So yeah, I like to coat it up really well, and then I like to hold it down for several seconds. And you might have noticed me rocking it slightly. Normally I'd say don't rock your stamps, but on a long one like this, I find that sometimes I don't get adequate pressure on the top or the bottom if I don't slightly move it a little bit. And so that's why I was doing that. But normally I tell people don't rock your stamps because that'll smudge them. But in this case, it doesn't smudge them. It just makes sure that the whole thing contacts where it needs to. So there is our sentiment. So that's all good. And I'm going to take my paper snips, which are really super sharp and good scissors to be using for paper and ribbons and all kinds of things. And I'm just going to angle it at the end here. I'm not measuring or anything. I'm just kind of doing an angle, eyeballing it there. And with that little technique, it looks nice and elegant and decorative. So I think that's all we need the scissors for this time. So I'm going to put those away. I'll put this over to the side. And now we're going to stamp our main image and do our watercolor pencil. All right, so here we go. Let's see. So I need my stamp here. Now, will that fit on a regular stamp block? Only just. Let's see how that does. If not, you could use a larger block, and I do have a larger block E here. Clear block E is what it's called. But I think I can make do probably with this kit block. So this is one of the blocks that just comes as a matter of course in any of our kits collection kits. I find that these blocks, since they come in every kit, they're really, really helpful. Every stamping kit, that is. Some kits are not stamping ones, but it gives you good value, and then you don't have to buy a whole bunch of extra blocks. So I always keep a stack of them on my desk. You can see them right over here, and you can use them really indefinitely. So I'm going to coat that up super well because we want a nice outline there for our little otter friends. And I will go ahead and stamp that onto my paper. So it doesn't really matter where you stamp it. We're going to cut it out anyway. So if you don't have the dies, you can just cut it out with your scissors. But I'm going to use the dies, and I can show you how that's done here in just a couple of minutes. All right, but let's color first. So I'll show you how that turned out. That looks pretty nice, doesn't it? And let's clean up our stamps. I always like to do that because if you don't, you can really get a mess on yourself, your hands or your arm or your sweater, your desk, your project. So I like to clean them up as soon as I can. And this is the Simply Chamois, which is a product again from Stampin' Up. And it's a really good one, I think, because it only costs a little bit and you can use it indefinitely. It doesn't matter if it gets stained like this. It will take the ink off most of the inks and clean them off the stamps. There's only a couple of exceptions that Stampin' Up sells that don't work like this. And you just wet it down with water until it's pliable like that. And then you just stamp into it. You can squish the stamp around as you saw me doing there. And it's a really nice chemical-free way to clean your stamps. So I'm going to put this right in here. All right, and if you're wondering what this big grid thing is that I'm working on underneath here, this is a really helpful thing. It's actually the glass mat that you can get from Stampin' Up. And I have really appreciated it. I just got it last summer, and last time I checked, they still had them. And I just find it a really useful tool for doing all my stamping. It's easy to clean, and also it has all these little grid markers, and so it's really, really nice. And it doesn't move because it has rubber feet underneath, so it isn't always moving on your desk like a piece of paper, and I like that too. All right, if you're watching today, I'd love to hear where you're watching from and whether you like otters. I just think they're the cutest little things. And I'm so happy we have river otters here in our community. We saw them recently. We were waiting in line to cross the border because Calais, Maine, USA is just a few minutes from here. And while we were at the border crossing, we were watching the river otters in the on the side of the river, and it was really fun. They were playing, and I had no idea that we even had them here, right in the center of two towns. So it was pretty cool to see them. So these are the watercolor pencils, and these are a great and economical way to build up your ink colors without spending a lot of money. Because in one package, like this one, you get 13 different colors. No, that's just the name of it. No, I'm right. It's 13 different colors. Sorry about that. And in this other assortment, you get, let me see, I think there's 10 more. Yeah, 10 more. So between the two assortments, you get 10 plus 13, so 23 different colors that you can use. And I'm just going to show you what I do with them here so you can see if they might be something that would help you as well. So I'm going to use, first of all, this color, which is Pecan Pie. And these all correspond to an ink color of Stampin' Up. So for Pecan Pie, what I'm going to do is I'm going to color this otter on the right. So that's the color the otter on the right is. It's a lovely kind of rusty brown. And what I'm going to do first is kind of draw a line just to keep that white part underneath separate so that I don't color that in as well. So let me see. I'm just going to draw a line from the nose to the eye. Come down on this line here. And that's it. Okay, so I just drew that little line there to kind of keep me inside my lines. And now I'm just going to color fairly quickly the whole otter. So I'm not going to really take any great care in doing this. The only thing I'd say is helpful is to kind of outline it a little bit, like you see me doing here, and then to color in kind of circles. I find that coloring in a circular pattern kind of makes it a little bit easier and smoother. But I'm really not going to take a lot of care. You can see that isn't really super hard to do what I'm just doing there. And if you move it around, you can kind of get better coverage that way too. It's easier to stay inside the lines. And we'll just keep going there. So I think this is one of those things that you kind of need to trust the process. So if I hadn't seen that this would work from doing it before, I would probably be a little suspicious right now because I'd be looking at that otter and going, that's really spotty. That doesn't look very good. Who's going to like that? But we're not done. So I'll just color a little more here, but I don't think it's too necessary. That's pretty good. So let's color our other otter friend here. And for that color, we're going to use the darker brown, which is Early Espresso. Now, is that this one? Yes, it is. So we're going to use Early Espresso. And by the way, where I'm getting all these colors is right out of these papers. So when you buy a set of Stampin' Up! Papers, they always tell you what colors are in the paper. And so the paper lists them all on the back. And two of the colors are Pecan Pie and Early Espresso. So that's exactly where I got them. So this one we're going to draw on it again. And so we're going to draw from the nose to the eye and go down to the neck. Okay. So let's see what we can do with that. So I'll show you that close up so you can see what I did. And then I'm just, again, going to pretty quickly fill that in. So no fuss about it. Really, it's just kind of stay in the lines as much as you can. And don't worry about the rest. So this one, I'm going to put a line here so that I don't color in that white part. I'm going to finish this line up here. Okay, so I'll just show you that. So I colored that part in and just kept the neck white, put a line here, and then the rest is all going to be that Early Espresso color. So I'm going to just do that right now. So I'd love to hear too if you've tried watercolor pencils before and what your experience was with them. I know when I tried them with water, sometimes it worked the way I wanted and other times it didn't. And the magic solution for me has been blender pens. It just suits kind of my sense of craft a little bit better than using water. There are special papers, though, you can get from Stampin' Up! That are meant for water and watercolor pencils. So that's definitely something that you could look into if you're interested. Just send me off a message and I'll be happy to tell you about it. But I really like using them with blender pens, which we'll do very shortly here. So I'm just going to show you that. So very uncomplicated, very quick. And you would think, oh, not a great coloring job, right? But you'll see, it'll work out. Now we're going to color these greenery bits. So the kind of curved ones here on either side, we're going to color in Garden Green, another green that you find in the papers. And Garden Green is in this other assortment. So this is called Watercolor Pencils Assortment 2. The one I was working with over here that has the 13 in it as opposed to this one's 10. So the 13 is called Watercolor Pencils Assortment 1. And then the 10 is Watercolor Pencils Assortment 2. So if you're looking for them, that's what they're called. If you can't remember, just let me know. And actually, they're all listed in my supply list, which is in my blog post. So just click on Learn More right in this post. It'll take you and show you the whole supply list in that blog post. All right, so let's get out the, let's see, I think it's this one, Garden Green. So Garden Green. And again, we're just going to color very, very quickly. No fuss. You don't have to be good at coloring to do this technique at all. I love it because, like many things with card making, it's so accessible to anybody. You really don't have to be an expert. It's just a few techniques and tricks, and then you can make something really beautiful. And some people like to design their own cards. I do. But not everybody does, and I don't do it all the time either. I get lots of ideas online, and you can just look on there and see what other people have shared. And that's one of the nice things about this paper craft industry. People are always sharing ideas. I think that's so wonderful. In this time when people seem to be kind of protective about their own things, this industry is really a wealth of sharing, and I think that's a very, very good thing. Okay, here we go. All right, so that's what I did, very quick. And we've just got those little blades of grass left. So we're going to go back to Watercolor Pencil Assortment 1, and we're going to use Old Olive. So that's another green. If I can find it, there it is. So Old Olive. And sometimes the color on the pencil doesn't look at all like the color that it comes out as when you use it. So it can be helpful to just kind of scribble the different colors on a piece of paper before you start, and just keep that right with your sets of pencils, and then you'll know what they look like. Like, for example, there's what that one looks like. But from the lead, you can't really tell that at all, right? I guess it's sort of the same as the cap, but not really. It's a little bit different. But here is our quick and dirty job that we did of the coloring. So now we're going to dig out our blender pens, and they are going to make everything better. So this is what I like about blender pens. They are so cool. So here's the blender pens. Now the blender pens come in a pack of 3, but it's like getting 6. So this is what I really like about them. Oh, hi, Linda. Good morning. Yeah, I've just colored this image, stamped it in Tuxedo Black, and then I colored it with watercolor pencils. And now we're going to use the blender pens to work their magic. So here's the blender pens. So you do get 3, but they're all double tipped. So it's like you get 6 because each tip is identical to the others. So it's like getting 6 with only 3 to store. And what I try to do is just dedicate each tip to kind of a color family. So you can see this one is kind of purple. This one's kind of pinkish red, so only reds would be used. This one, only purples would be used. And I'm just looking at the others. So this one is my green tip. I think you can see that. So I'll use that one for the greens. And I had one that I used for the browns. Let's see, which one was it? Maybe not that one. Let's see, I'll check another one. Maybe, nope, that one's blue. So I just try to keep the color families all the same. That's kind of yellow, so I'll leave that one. All right, I think it must have been this one. Oops, no, that's purple. All right, it must have been this one. Yes, this one was the brown one. Sometimes you have to go through a whole bunch of them before you can find it. So I'm going to use that one with the brown. And I'm going to start on this little guy over here. And I'm just brushing in the color very quickly. So I'm just kind of going along those lines. Now I'm going to show you how that looks. See where I've done just the head? And it looks quite a bit different than the rest. It smoothed out all that color. So I find that the most helpful thing is just to kind of brush the color in as much as you can. And you can use kind of those circles as well, but I'm just sort of brushing it on there and just trying to go in the same direction as I brush. So that really kind of spotty looking otter, and I'll just do a little bit there to blend that, now looks much smoother, doesn't it, compared to its counterpart here. And then when you're done using the pen, you just kind of scribble lightly. You don't want to press hard or anything, just till the color goes away, and then that'll keep your tip all fresh for the next color. Now in this case, I'm going to use brown again, but I didn't want kind of that red tint into it. I just wanted it to be brown like it was here. So we'll just do that little bit. So you do end up coloring your images twice, but I think the effect is really fantastic. And with images like this, the little bit of pen strokes that you kind of get there really adds some, I guess, realism to your fur, and it makes the fur really stand out in a nice way. It also brightens up each color, as you've seen, and it kind of reveals them more than if you just left them the way they were. So this technique with blender pens brightens the colors, whereas if you use the watercolor pencils and use water, it turns them to a watercolor effect, which makes them a little more muted. So it depends on what you're really aiming for. So look how nicely those turned out, those two little guys. Isn't that cute? I'm just going to color that right there because I see I missed that little part. Okay, so now we'll go on to the greenery. And we've already set out our pen here. So that's our green pen. I think you can see that green there. So I'm going to do just a little stroke of green in each of these. And it smooths it out and makes it brighter. So I really like that effect so much, because I find getting rid of pencil strokes with colored pencils can be kind of difficult. And this way, it just smooths it right out. So it almost gives it the effect of a marker, even though you're not using markers. And I think that that's very nice. All right, so we got that. And then we'll do these little blades of grass here. And it really brightens those up. Look at the difference. I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but this one I've colored with the blender pen. These ones I have not. So let's just do that right now. And it really lightens up the image so you can see it much better. Yeah, much better defined that way. And then I've got these two left over here. Perfect. So those guys are done. All right, so we'll just scribble off. Doesn't matter, we're not needing the rest of this piece of paper. So there we go. And there we're ready to go ahead and cut it out. I think I left my dies on the other table. Let me just go get those. So here are the dies that come with the bundle. So these ones will cut out otters from the paper or from the stamp set. And gee, the one that I need, I must have left somewhere. Let me just find that. Okay. Yes, I was using it yesterday, so I just had this one detached. So here's the little one we're going to use now. And it goes like that. So what I found helpful for this particular image, just to keep all the parts aligned exactly where you want them, was that having a little piece of washi tape on the side really, really helped. It kept everything in place. So this is just a little cheap washi tape I had. And I'm going to use my little mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So I need my plates here. All the plates tell you which one needs to be on top, which ones are in the middle, and so forth. So they give you all the instructions. And if you need one of these mini machines, a little tip for you. If you type into the search bar in Stampin' Up! The words limited edition, a blue version of this will come up, and it's actually a few dollars cheaper than the white one. It was a promotion a while ago, and they still have some left. And so you can save a little bit. Every little bit counts, I think. And we'll just fold up those plates, and easy as that, we have it cut out. I like that little mini machine. It's great for a crop, or if you're going to the cottage. It's just really easy to take along. Take that little tape off, and look at that. Very elegant cut job. I really like the dies. So we'll move all that stuff out of the way for now. And we will go on to assemble the rest of our cards. So now we've got all the heavy lifting done. So the rest is just putting it all together. So I pre-cut all these pieces for myself. And we've got a card base here in Petal Pink. So I'm just going to use my bone folder and give that a nice crisp fold so it'll stay closed nicely for us once we get all the papers on. And then we're going to put some decorative paper onto a panel of Early Espresso. And these panels fit exactly on here on the card base. This one is 4 by 5 1/4 Early Espresso, and this is the Otterly, which one is it? Otterly Adorable paper, and it is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So we're just going to use Stampin' Seal here. You could use your liquid glue if you prefer, and we're going to stick this onto the panel. So very simple, nothing complicated at all. So I just kind of eyeball it to sort of get it in the middle there, and that is it. So now we're going to flip it over. We're going to use dimensionals here and put them on the back. And I've been telling my customers that it's really important to use good adhesives. These are Stampin' Up! Adhesives. They're Stampin' Dimensionals. And I've been using them for years and years, way before I ever had a business at all. I just really like them. I've been relating this story that at Christmas time, I got some handmade cards from different friends, and 2 of them fell apart before Christmas. Not the friends, the cards. I should specify that. And I felt really bad, but it's because they used cheap adhesives. So that's not the way to go if you want your projects to stay together, even just for a few days. That's not a good idea. That's happened before when I've received handmade things from people. They thought they were doing a good thing by getting their adhesives at or for cheap, and it just doesn't work. They don't last at all. So these 2 circles, this is again from that Otterly Adorable paper, and this one beneath it is Early Espresso, and I used the Stylish Shapes dies to cut those out. I'll just grab them so you can see. This set of dies is probably the most used in my whole collection. It doesn't look all that interesting, and I get that. It's more fun to cut out interesting, different shapes. But these ones can go on pretty much any card year round. So I use them all the time. And I'm really happy to have these ones. So again, they're called Stylish Shapes. You've got squares or diamonds if you like. You've got these chevron shapes to put your words into. And you've got your circles. So lots and lots of possibilities there. So let's build up our little bits on the card here now. So let's get this straight. I want the waves to kind of be straight across there. So if we put it sort of like that, and then we need our words, our sentiment. Now, this is something that happens in crafting. My sentiment has gone AWOL. Oh, there it is. It's hiding. Anybody have that happen when you're crafting? It always happens to me the most when I'm on video, of course. I have everything set out, it's all ready, and yet stuff still disappears. I don't know how that happens, but anyway, that's okay. So let's use our dimensionals here. I'm just cutting these little pieces on the end. They all work, so why not get your money's worth? And they also fit very nicely on a small piece like this. So I like to keep the edges as well. I use them all the time, and they really do a good job. All right, and on the back of a circle, I find usually just 3 of them is pretty much enough. You can put more if you want. Everybody's different, but I find 3 is pretty good. All right, maybe we'll put it this way and just try to kind of center that. That looks pretty good. And then we'll take the backings off these ones. Oh, I should tell you too that this is the biggest promotion of the year right now with Stampin' Up. If you need some supplies, whether it's basics like cardstock or inks, or kind of other things like stamp sets or embellishments, whatever, it's Celebration. And with every $75 spend, that's before tax and shipping, you get to choose a free item. So it's a really, really good time if you need to stock up, or you've been kind of eyeing something on the website or in the catalog. So it's a really good time to buy and get more for your money. There's also a joining deal on right now. There's no obligation to sell. And you get a whole bunch of free stuff. One of the offers right now for Celebration is $135. That's what you pay. And with your $135, you get to choose $206 worth of stuff. So that's all Canadian dollars. And it's free shipping, so you save again because they don't pay, or they don't charge any shipping. And also in most provinces, it is no tax either. So it's a flat $135. So if you're interested in that, just check out my website or send me a note. I'd be happy to explain more about that for you. So that's what we've got so far. We have one little touch left, and that's to put on these nice little embellishments. So here they are. They are these ones, and they are called Riverside Irregular Pearls, and they correspond with the Otterly Amazing stamp set and dies and the Otterly Adorable paper. So they made them just specifically to go together. So you've got these 3 colors. And here I think the ones that'll really stand out the most will be the white ones. So that's why I'm going with white here. All right. And then I'm going to put one more there. Just like that. Oh, and I should show you too, a nice tool is this Take Your Pick. So one end is pointy, so you can use that for die cutting or poking holes in things that you need for your paper crafting, whatever. Or also for lifting up the edges of something like a dimensional. You can get that adhesive backing, just lift it up for you a little bit easier. And the other end of it has putty. So the putty, how you use that, I'll just show you, even though I've already done that, but you just put the putty on, hold it down and move it to the side, kind of slide to the side, and it picks up these little tiny embellishments, and then you can set them down wherever you want them with a lot less fuss. So that is a really nice tool. Again, it's called Take Your Pick. So here is the final product. So I hope you enjoyed that today. I would love to hear what you think of it and of this whole bundle and suite. And please do click through. You can see the whole supply list, and you can read my little story. It's just a minute to read it about meeting sea otters. So thanks again for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful and crafty weekend. If you don't have a demonstrator already, I'd be very happy to answer your questions and help you out with any of your crafting needs. So don't hesitate to contact me anytime. All right, bye for now. Have a great weekend.